musical, Seven Drunken Nights, will tour the UK in March and April. Now, for details, visit sevendrunkennights.com. Now, as the title suggests, it tells the story of the Dubliners. One of the creators, Jed Graham, was born in Dublin but moved as a youngster to Manchester. And I'm pleased to welcome him online. Jed, good morning. How are you?
Good morning. How are you, Jerry? You okay?
Not bad at all. Now, Jed, I believe that Seven Drunken Nights theatre goers shouldn't expect to see sort of a tribute band, but rather a retrospective picking up the story of the Dubliners from when Barney McKenna, a founding member, passed away in 2012, and looking back at the story of the band.
You've hit the nail on the head there, Jerry. That's exactly what it is. It's not a tribute. It's not a looky-likey, sound-alikey kind of thing. It is a retrospect of the band, as you say. We start the story off in 2012 when Barney passes away, and then we sort of go back in time to 1962, and we take the story through and all the key moments of the career.
Right. Now, it's an interesting approach, I'll have to say. Now, previous generations will remember the Dubliners' impact, but many of the songs are such favourites now at parties and have been covered multiple times that perhaps younger people aren't aware of the trail that they actually blazed back in those days. Do you aim to serve up some of the classic songs of the style and the setting in which they were originally performed?
Yes, we do. Yes, I mean we have various scenes within the show, that help us to tell the story in really from a period point of view. So, when we open the show, we open up in the television studios in 2012, and we use a little bit of artistic license, and we present sort of the last medley that the Dubliners done on the Late Late Show. And then what we do then is we go back in time to O'Donoghue's pub in Miriam Road, Dublin, 1962, and the first scene, real big scene of the show is in a pub session in Dublin in 1962. So we've got all the classics from that particular era that the Dubliners would have performed on their live albums.
Right. Now that all sounds it sounds excellent. Now, there's no mistaking that the audience will enjoy seeing the high caliber singers and musicians. You're starring in the show. Who else joins you on stage?
Right. I'm joined by Billy Barton, and Billy Barton is a native of Dublin as well. He's a fellow dub like myself from the Liberties, and Billy's the real deal. He's the real dub. He grew up with Barney McKenna and Ronnie Drew. They were very, very good friends in the 60s and 70s and right through all the touring career. And Billy sort of co-narrates the show with me, and he plays banjo and whistles and sings quite a lot of the songs. And then we're joined by a guy called Danny Muldoon, who's from an Irish background. His mother's actually from Mayo. I think his father's from Wicklow. And he's a fantastic singer, toured the world with different types of rock bands and soul bands, and he's got a great Irish soulful voice. And then I have two instrumentalists, Conor Elliott, who's from Donegal, and Paddy Ryan, who is the third generation Irish, a fantastic tenor banjo player. So we've got a really nice cast of nice guys, great musicians, great singers, and we hope to present a really good versions of the Dubliners songs.
Right. Now, you've invested a great deal of time into researching the background of the Dubliners to present this authentic picture. Now, there's much of interest in their rich history. For example, an indication of the vintage of the Dubliners is that Patrick Kavanagh wrote Raglan Road with Luke Kelly in mind and gave it to him in a pub. Can you share anything you discovered there?
Oh, yeah, well, Patrick Kavanagh, lived in Dublin for many, many years. And, of course, Dublin is, now it's a very much of a cosmopolitan city. But back in the 60s and 70s, it was very much of a very town mentality. So everybody kind of knew each other. If you were in the circle of the artists and the musicians, you would have known each other. And Paddy Kavanagh, a great Monaghan man and a great poet, did frequent the hostelries around Dublin, as did Luke and Ronnie and Barney and the rest of the lads. So they would have come in contact with each other on a fairly regular basis. And I do believe the story goes through my research is that they met in a pub in Dublin, and Paddy Kavanagh gave Luke the lyrics. He said, "You should sing this song." And he says, "Well, what's the air to the song?" He says, "I'll put whatever air you want to it." So he said, "What about the dawning of the day?" Well, at that time, the dawn of the day was a march. It was played like at Crow Park, and it
Yes.
was very much a military style march. And when they slowed it down, John Sheehan done the arrangement. They slowed it down. We have what we know today as Raglan Road. It's a fantastic piece of music.
Indeed. Now, I know that you featured significant points in the long career of the Dubliners, telling stories of how songs and albums came together. Now, the band were complex and fascinating. Ronnie Drew, for example, was well-read and spoke fluent Spanish, even with a Seville accent, and played a flamenco guitar.
He certainly did. I mean, as a younger man, he went over to Spain to teach English, of all things. Now, I can just imagine generations of Spanish people speaking with Ronnie Drew's accent. It tickles me that. So when he was over in Spain, he picked up the language, but he also picked up the flamenco guitar, and which he maintained playing in that style right the way through the Dubliners' career. If you look at any of the Dubliners' albums, you'll see the nylon-strung flamenco guitar that Ronnie played throughout the Dubliners' careers, and it has a very sort of gentle lilt to the sound. And Ronnie, as I say, was a very complex person, a very, very well-read person, and a very, very intelligent man. And he was a bit like an onion, so many skins, layers of skins, and there to him. And he's a very complex gentleman and a very talented man.
Right. Now, the other members all added their own dimension. Luke Kelly sang movingly about social unrest, etc. Barney Ken and John Sheehan, they were great instrumentalists. So no doubt the show sounds good. Jed, you definitely got a hit on your hands there. Coventry, I believe, and Stevenage are actually sold out, and you've as well as you've got 20 other venues coming up.
Yes, they have. Yeah, I mean, those two have. I think there's some single seats left at Coventry. I think about 4 or 5 single seats left at Coventry. And Stevenage just sold out, and there's quite a few theatres on, getting close to that point on limited availability. So we're looking forward to a good tour. And the one person that everybody leaves out within the Dubliners is Kieran Burke. And Kieran Burke was such a major part of the Dubliners story, and sometimes he gets forgotten when people are talking about. You always talk about Luke, and you always talk about Ronnie Drew and Barney McKenna, John Sheehan, but Kieran seems to get left out, and he was a very big influence on the direction of the music of the Dubliners. So we include his influence to the music of the Dubliners and the music of Irish music in general.
Right. Jed, listen, that's where we leave it. Thank you very much for joining me. Wishing you loads of success, and no doubt it'll be a great tour.
Oh, thank you very much, Sharon. Love to see you soon.
Lovely. Jed, thanks for joining me.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye now.